Howdy folks, Greyhawk 4x4 coming at you again, your resident vintage gamer. Today's video is going to be a gaming vlog. We are going to talk about several different gaming topics. We are going to talk about the Steam controversy that occurred last week with paid mods. We're going to talk a little bit about a new, it's in its alpha, it's a new piece of software for tabletop gaming called Revolution Virtual Play Space. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about the legendary gaming magazine known as Dragon Magazine that was published by TSR and later Wizards of the Coast, because Wizards of the Coast has decided to reincarnate it, and it is now going to be available only digitally, and it's going to be called Dragon Plus. We'll talk a little bit about that. I'll give you my opinion on that. And I've got a couple of little follow-up items of the things that I've talked about in the past that I have new information on, new news, and I want to give you guys the updated info on that. So, without further ado, let's go. To start off with, let's talk about the Steam controversy that occurred last week, where it was announced on the Steam platform for PC gaming that the mods that are player created, or I should say community created, they were going to allow the creators to start charging for their mods, and everybody went apeshit. I had to give it a little bit of thought because I had to look at it from both sides of the coin. Number one, I'm a content creator. I'm doing content as we speak right now, making this video. I have never received a dime yet. However, at some point, YouTube will cut me a check. It takes a long time when you start on YouTube, unless you're lucky and something goes viral and you get millions and millions of hits, then you get paid right away. But if you're somebody like me who starts out with nobody and just kind of slowly built it up, I have over 400 subscribers now, but I still haven't received a dime yet. At some point I will get a check, a small check, but I will get one. And I feel like I've earned it. I have provided, in my opinion, a lot of interesting content on my channel. And I don't feel the least bit guilty about accepting that money when they send it to me. And I want to say thank you to all of you who have watched my channel and allowed that to happen. So if I were a creator of a mod for, say, Skyrim or whatever game we're talking about, and I was given the opportunity to say, hey, I want to charge 50 cents for my mod, and if I sell it to, however many people, I get 50 cents for each one. And of course, there was a revenue split between Steam and all that, and I think it was between Steam and it was between the game publisher, and then the content creator for the mod got what was left over. So from that standpoint, I don't see a problem with it, because I did go on to Steam when they were still charging for some of them, and there were still free ones. It wasn't like they all went to where you had to pay for them. There were still free ones. But anyway, everybody went crazy, huge uproar, and so Steam decided, like the very next day or something, or 2 days later, they pulled the plug and they're no longer charging for mods. So on one instance, I feel good because the gaming community was able to voice their opinion, and the market worked. If you try to sell widgets and you're charging too much for widgets and no one's buying them, you're either going to drop the price on the widgets or you're going to go out of business. And that's how the market works. And in this instance, it worked because people were voicing their opinions and everything. However, I feel that it probably would have been a better move for Steam, for Valve that owns Steam, to give it some more time. as long as they had the ability for people to either charge or not charge, they didn't force them all to charge for mods. There were free ones still available. I don't see why they couldn't have let it go a little bit further just to see how sales would go. You know, they weren't asking an arm and leg for mods, you know, 99 cents or whatever it was. You know, I'm sure there was more. There were others that were more. But regardless, they could have let it play out a little bit more. But they knee-jerked and switched right back. So I'm not really sure how I feel about that. I'm happy on one end, but I'm kind of disappointed on the other. So maybe it's just a wash. I don't know. Tell me how you feel below in the comments. Next topic, we're going to talk about this Revolution Virtual Play Space. Now, what this is, it's a piece of software that you can use kind of like as if you were doing a Google Hangout or Skype with a lot of people. However, the difference is you're in a virtual environment, first-person view. So let's say you're trying to do this playing long-distance Dungeons and Dragons, let's say. So you have a DM, and you've got 3 or 4 different players that live around the country. They can all get in on this piece of software, and the DM who has created the custom environment in there, the players go in and they go into first-person view and they get to experience it from first person, just like a video game, like as if you were in a video game. But the difference is everything's being controlled by the DM and the players. And in addition to that, there is the ability for spectators to watch. Because I was watching, they have an exclusive deal with the channel here on YouTube. They're friends of mine known as Dyson Decks. And I've put a link in one of my other videos. I'll put one down below here also. So whenever it's in the alpha stage, and they've already done one broadcast where they had it in the virtual space. And it's interesting to watch because, you know, you have the DM talking and you have the players moving and everything's, you know, happening in the virtual space. So I'll give you an example. There was a room that they went into, and there was a rug on the floor of the room that they were in, and they were talking about how if they were going to check underneath it and all this. And it was all happening while they were describing it, and whatever they were doing, you could actually watch it. As a spectator, I was watching the players do everything and so forth. It's a very interesting concept. Again, it's in the alpha stage. I will put a link below to where you can go and check out the software for yourself if you want to the website and so forth. I just thought that it was worth mentioning here because I was intrigued by it, and the folks over at Dyson Decks are very interested in it, and they seem to be having a lot of fun with it. So you can check that out for yourself. Next topic, Dragon Magazine. For those of you that are tabletop players or old school tabletop players, whatever, you may or hopefully you remember Dragon Magazine. Dragon Magazine was created back after Dungeons and Dragons was first created. It started out as something called the Strategic Review, and then it became Dragon Magazine. And then after TSR sold to Wizards of the Coast, Wizards continued to publish it in print for a while, and then it went digital only. Then it went away. So now they're reincarnating it as what they're calling Dragon Plus, and it's only available currently for iPad. So I don't know how I feel about that because I have iTunes and I was able to download it on iTunes, but I cannot read it because you have to have an iPad to read the damn thing. I don't know why it's not available for Android. I don't know why it's not available on there's a couple of RPG drive-through that you can. There's plenty of free products that. Oh, by the way, it is a free product if you have an iPad to download it. And I will put a link below so that if you want to just follow the link, you can check it out. So it is a free product, and RPG, I think it's RPG Next and RPG Drive-Thru have lots of free products, and they could have put it there, and I could read it on my computer. So I'm not sure why they chose to go the route they did. I don't know if it's going to eventually come to Android. I have no idea. We can only hope, because right now I can't read. I don't own an iPad, and I have no intention of buying an iPad. So in any case, I do have a tablet, but it's an Android device. So it'll be interesting to see how that washes out. And if you want to, let me know below if you remember the old Dragon magazine and how you feel about this new iteration being digital. It's free and available on iPad. The next thing I wanted to talk about was, it's kind of a follow-up topic. If you remember, there was a couple times in videos, probably over a year ago, that I talked about something called Evermore Park. Evermore Park was a proposed theme park that was privately funded, that was going to be right here in Utah, like 10 minutes from where I live, and it was going to be in Pleasant Grove, Utah, and it was going to be a fantasy-themed kind of, I don't want to say theme park is kind of, it was more than that. It was going to be a park where people were welcome to come and cosplay, because all of the employees in the park were going to be in costume and in character at all times. It was going to be called an adventure park. That was the term that they used. And so it was kind of almost like, that you could LARP, or live action role play, at the park. And they were going to have different sections. They were going to have different things that went on at different seasons. Like they'd have a Christmas event that would go on, a Halloween event, of course, that would go on, and then they had like I think a springtime or whatever. And this was all proposed. They had a big website, and it looked amazing what they were going to do. The land deal, where the land that they were going to use fell through or whatever, and so we thought, okay, they're just going to find a new piece of land. Well, sadly to say, their website is no longer functioning. Their Facebook page, and I'll put a link below if you want to check out the Facebook page, but it has not been updated in some time. I hate to say it, but it seems like it just kind of faded away, and it's very sad because it was an awesome concept. So that is the follow-up that I have. I hope that things change. I hope that they find a new piece of land, and they, they get their investors again or whatever, and it goes forward, because it would be an awesome thing to see. So there's that. And then my final piece of follow-up was for BattleBards, which I've talked about a couple times before. They relaunched their Kickstarter. Their initial Kickstarter had a subscription element to it, and people did not like this. They voiced that they did not like the subscription element, so they relaunched without a subscription model, and they funded in the first day they went live. It's still going. There's lots of stretch goals I think that they're going to try to hit, so I'll put a link again down below for you if you want to check that out. I'm a backer, and I love the idea. From what I can see, I love the product, so that's why I like to talk about it. And I'm glad that they hit their funding. Congratulations to them, and I hope they hit many stretch goals, and I can't wait to use the program myself in my own gaming back there. So that'll do it for this this gaming this gaming vlog. And considering my mouth is no longer working, I will just bid you adieu and say we'll catch you on the flip side.